I don't think it's much fun now. I'll tell you a little story, Nana, if I may. I went to 2 funerals recently. One of David Amis, the man who was murdered by an Islamist in his constituency office, just like Joe Cox was murdered by a right-wing anti-European back in 2016. And then a few weeks later, the funeral of Jack Dromey, a very dear friend of mine about my age, who just dropped dead alone in his constituency flat, nobody with him. And I thought, as I looked at all the MPs leaving Westminster Cathedral and St Margaret's Church in Westminster, how tired they look and down at heel and a bit miserable. And ministers, Labour guys, Tory guys, Lib Dems. And I just thought, this job, it used to be great fun. It can't be any fun at all now.
But when the fun stops, then stop. I mean, I get that. But it seems there are quite a few things that are attractive for being an MP, surely. And, if you've been doing it for quite some time, you may go off the job. Why do you think, then, specifically, people are, seeming so tired and worn and fed up with it?
I agree with you. I mean, I always said being an MP beats working for a living any day of the week, and it certainly did for me. I had a wonderful, wonderful time as an MP. But I think the huge difference with only, 10 years since I left is social media. That you just cannot be an MP and you're subject to the hate via Twitter, via Facebook, via all the other social media mechanisms. It's very easy to say, oh, just turn it off. But you can't, because a lot of your constituents now only correspond with you. To begin with, it was all nice letters. It was people waiting patiently and politely in a constituency surgery. And now they blast in an email and want your instant reply. And so you can't turn it off. So I think that's very despair-making. You don't know what the public really thinks because you're not all sharing the same thing. Again, sorry to sound old, when I started, you knew some people were reading the Daily Telegraph or the Sun or the Daily Mail or the Express or whatever. Some were watching ITV, some were watching BBC. But there's a sort of common sense of where the news was coming from. I have no idea, even my children, where they get their news from. And so I think being an MP and not knowing what your constituents are properly thinking, that also must be very tiring.